Thank you, Andy. So I'm Didier. I've been working in the CCM and the print service provider space for 20 plus years. And my main experience was with GMC, now Quadient, where I had different roles there. But the major roles I had in the context of this interview was first, let's say, responsible of the product strategy at a moment where this market was shifting to digital. So I was involved in thinking about the market, thinking about the customer needs, and as a software editor, what could be a proposal to the market, helping our customers, mainly print service providers at that time, to join, let's say, this digital momentum on the product side. And then the second role I had was responsible of the print service providers worldwide. So we had, as that time, GMC, the responsibility to help our customers to be able to continue to grow and develop themselves in a changing world. So this was the inception of DNOW, where we had to understand what was the issue with print service providers in front of a digital world. And we quickly understood that the main issue was not really about technology, was about understanding how they could play in this digital world, how they could understand what could be a solution or product offering on their side where they could be credible. And the most important part was to help print service providers to endorse the digital culture in terms of HR, in terms of solution selling and go-to-market and marketing. And when
this is a really important point that I think is often missed, in that, you were truly, it was a holistic approach, right? It wasn't just a technology solution. It was bringing a full portfolio of capabilities and messaging and education so that a PSP could truly address the market, help their team, their sales organization understand how to sell, help their customers understand what it is they were offering to them. So I think that's a really important point that people need to understand, that it's not just a technology play. It's truly about education too, right?
First of all, thanks for asking it. I believe that this conversation is not really about DNOW. It's not that it's not what is more important. It's about trying to push a bit the industry, trying to bring something to the industry. This is, right, I think, more important. And to my mind, what is the most important, Andy, is for a print service provider to go to digital. It's really about this profound philosophical question. Are the owners so deep in printing that they will never accept to get rid of the smell of the ink, the touch of the paper, the sound of the machines?
Right.
And it's a difficult play. Then what we can do as support, consultant, coach, whatever, to help them find additional business in print where they will have the paper touch, the ink of the smell, the smell of the ink and the machines, and they will be comfortable there. Maybe a bit.
And I would say there's a lot of people in industry that do that already, right? It's very few people that are actually talking about the side of this business that you and I are trying to address, which is this transformation of this industry around printed communications.
If some of them believe that their job is to be part of a process where they are helping enterprise to assemble properly personalized content, communication, and distribute it, then if they consider this is their job, then we have a lot of things to build. And it's kind of binary. And this is why we always start any DNOW engagement with what we call a strategic assessment. And we talk to a lot of people, starting from the CEO, but of course, sometimes the answer is a bit formal and very corporate, but we talk to a lot of different peoples and we understand what is the culture of the company. And then we say, you're deeply rooted in print. Maybe you should go for packaging, signage, whatever.
Right.
And in some cases, yes, we can build something together in digital. We always start with this. And what was striking to me, we saw at that time, we're talking about 8-10 years ago, the print service providers facing the reduction of paper already in Europe. And on the digital side, startups and new incumbents coming to this digital area. And the PSPs tend to underestimate their positioning within their customers. They say, okay, no, that's not for me. This is for the young guys with long hairs, the startups. We are not able to play there. We don't have any assets or advantage. And they were wrong, because the credibility that PSPs have built over time within banks and insurances is a huge advantage, even though they don't have yet the digital culture or the technology or the people to sell. But the asset and credibility they have is probably stronger than the things they have to learn, comparing it to startups getting to banks and insurance and building societies that you said. Say, hey guys, we do fancy things, we know a lot of things, we can help you. But do you think a bank will trust a new startup with people that they have not met before, that can be broke in 6 months? So we also think that it's our duty to show to the print service providers all the assets and advantages they have with their customers when they go digital. They have assets they can build on, like the data. They are already manipulating the security about the data, the trust that they have from their customers manipulating data, right?
Right. Understanding regulations and security and data manipulation and that requirement to deliver 100% accuracy, right? That requirement to deliver integrity in the process is inherent to transactional printers, right? That's part of their operating process, and so
that's in their DNA. That's normal. That's natural to them, right? This is not a given for new entrants. This is not a given. They have it. I'm impressed when I look, especially into the US market, the amount of regulations and certifications and all the SOC and all these things you have to play in this market. So this is a real barrier for entry for new incumbents that would like to play in this area. So this is something that PSPs already have, most of them.
And those incumbents, though, we shouldn't underestimate, though, how many of those small little startups are. I mean, I don't know if you have a number, but I would guess there are many that have come and gone and failed for some of the things that you described. But utilizing things like artificial intelligence, we can continue to expect a constant sort of churn of these startups trying to nibble away at customer communications, right? At the things that traditional print service providers have been excelled at. There's going to be these entrants in the market that are going to say, we can do it better, we can do it faster, we can do it cheaper, whatever that looks like. I don't expect that's going to go away.
A small history, or look at what is, according to me, a very quick history of the evolution of what we could say customer communication management or customer experience. And I think we could have different stages in terms of digital maturity of this customer communication market. If we look back probably 20 years ago, most of the business communication, regulated business communication, was delivered on paper. So this was very clear. The print service provider was generating the content, and the delivery was the responsibility of the postal offices worldwide. Very stable environment. All the customer communication for business regulated communication was on paper. And then we can see a progressive shift into email delivery at the end of the years 2000, so 2008, 2010, to have a generalization of email delivery of the same business regulated content. So this is a first phase. So coming from paper and ability to deliver this by email, first phase. Second phase, we see that we can also deliver the message on different channels, not only the email. So we saw the generalization of delivery on, of course, mobile notification, push, mobile, text messages or web content, as well as paper and email. So this is a second step, in my view, of this digital experience. This was probably around 2012, 2014. This is where I see it. And at that time, it's important to notice that the trend was to deliver the same message on different channels and claiming that we will choose the channel of choice of the customer, or we will send to the customer on multiple channels the same message. So this is a next step of maturity. But it was still incomplete. And this is where I would like to come to. A customer is not expecting to receive the same message on the different channels. When I'm getting it on the paper, I want a complete, thorough information with a lot of details that I can take 10 minutes, 15 minutes to read. When I'm receiving a text message, it's for a different kind of message. It has to be short. It has to be probably with a call for action. And when I receive it on the email, it's not instantaneous. It has to be a message that can be read probably after 1 or 2 days. So there is no sense of urgency. So what we see in the industry, after having understood that we can deliver the message on different channels, the name of the game was to organize the channels in a journey. So we have to have a follow-up of the conversation on the different channels and not necessarily the same message on all the channels. And this is something we understood, and we are helping print service providers to grasp, let's say, the concept of customer journey, to understand that their job is to follow the needs of the communication between an enterprise and the customer and continue the conversation using multiple channels, but having a different message on each channel, depending on the moment they are sending it, with a journey according to each customer.
Right. Yep. And I think that, you know, the challenge comes from the sort of the legacy of print service providers of really seeing things from the view of print first, right? From this kind of page-based, document-centric point of view of, oh, we can take that same thing as an email and deliver it here, or we can, you know, take that same content and sort of push it in different places. But it's really not addressing the customer need, to your point, which is, hey, if you have something that's critical, that's an alert of you know, some type of, you know, something I need to know about right away, send it to me as a text message, but I don't need, just tell me there's a problem and I'll go research that problem, right? So I think that's, again, I think you're correct in how print service providers have really struggled to figure out how to not just take the same communication and deliver it across different channels, but to actually tailor the communication based on the need of the customer inside that channel. And that is a different thing.
So, and in our opinion, with the different assignments we had the chance to have within several service providers around the world, we understood that one key success factor for a print service provider to understand how to use best all the channels according to a customer journey is to understand the typical journey for different processes within their customers. So if you are a PSP and you're working in a bank and you are delivering maybe a statement or documents about account openings or documents about sometimes KYC or whatever,
Right.
The name of the game is to understand where your printed paper sits in the journey. What is a journey that is expected between the bank and the customer? And when you understand the journey, you can propose a complete solution using multiple channels at each step of this journey. So the name of the game is to try to go a bit upward in the value chain of what you are delivering and understand where your paper sits in a larger process. And when you understand this process, it's easier to articulate the technology you may have, the data you already have, your skills about designing a right communication, and activate this journey for your customer. They just wait for you to do it. If you're not doing it, they will give away parts of this journey to different players or different departments, and it will be fragmented.
Right.
So it's not good for your customer to have different players in this complete journey. So
what is it that DNOW brings to service providers? What is it as part of the DNOW organization? What I get as part of a membership in, because it is sort of a peer group that you buy into, right? What do you get as a part of that? What is the advantage of that in your view in terms of helping service providers navigate this treacherous waters that we have ahead over the next 5 to 7 years, particularly here in the United States?
So thank you for this question. So DNOW today is an independent venture. So we started with Quadient, and then after a spin-off with a partner in Italy named Igloo, we are running it as an independent company. So we are not bound to any technological solution. So we are totally neutral in terms of technologies or advices we can give. What we try to do, we try to look at each PSP where they play today. What are their strengths? What are the customers they are serving? What are the applications they are serving? And we try to understand as well their culture. What are the different key people running these companies? How they are addressing the market, their positioning. And we are trying to see where they are now, what would be the best journey to start to build a comprehensive, consistent digital portfolio that will leverage what they're already doing in paper. What is the adjacent, what are the adjacent solutions that they can build around what they do today? So if you are, for instance, in insurances where you have a lot of paperwork about claims and losses and things like this, we will try to develop with them portfolio of solutions, digital solutions, helping insurances in the journey of losses, claims, etc., or onboarding new customers in insurances. If they are more in the banking environment, we'll go probably more to check if their customers, their banking customers, have some needs in terms of KYC or whatever. So we try to understand the strength, the culture, and we try to help them build this portfolio and also help them sell the solutions to their customers, because the selling process is totally different. The culture is totally different. When you're printing, you have an industrial culture where you have to have repetition making it perfect, and quality assurances. And when you are digital, it's different. You have to allow people to make mistakes, to allow people to make test, and every customer may need a different solution. So it's less industrial. So we manage this transition to, let's say, having probably a dedicated team that would be spearheading a digital business and try to develop it. So this is what we do in DNOW. And what was very important for all the customers we have worked with is to be able to share their best practices, their experiences between them. And this is the core of the DNOW Club. It's a peer-to-peer group with companies that already started, many of them succeeded, to be able to have a decent, profitable business in digital together with their print. So this is the DNOW Club, where we join all these companies having print and digital business all together, and where we share best practices, how to sell. And also now what we are also building now is we are exploring the different AI solution that can help these companies develop their digital solutions. And of course, each member is able to network, to propose maybe some support to other companies where a company is more advanced on some digital solutions. Another company could benefit from it and have a quicker learning curve going digital. So this is this is more a community of digitally advanced print service providers sharing best practices.
And sort of kind of where you see the difference between the European market and the US market, and sort of how you think this is going to play out in the US over time.
I have 3 points on this topic. The first point is, mechanically, it's about the inflation of the postage rate, the stamp rate, that has been probably exponential in Europe during the last 10 years, and just probably linear with slight increase 10 years ago with USPS. And now it's starting to be probably two rate changes within 12 months recently.
Right.
So this will happen mechanically because it will be more and more expensive to post the paper communication. This is the first point. And in Europe, things started to change in terms of the postage fees, probably early 2010. The Nordics, countries like Denmark and Norway and Sweden, had inflated their post prices radically from one year to another. And they led the way into this digital transformation of business-regulated communication. This change will happen driven by the postal costs, first point.
Right.
The second point is cultural. You mentioned that there may be a threat for this industry, that startups are coming and developing technologies and ecosystem and credibility to be able to offer digital experiences and digital journeys to large companies, corporations, building societies, and banks and insurances, even though they are small companies. But some of them will succeed to be considered good players in this area, started to have references and started to grow. So this is a risk. On the other hand, the print service providers, they have the credibility, they have the data, they can still build some offerings in digital, but they have a window of time because people culturally, they still consume the information on paper. They still like to have the paper on top of digital, according to your survey. But this will fade. Probably there will be a period of time, 5 years, 7 years, where this habit and cultural preference to have the content on paper will progressively fade. And this period is a period of opportunity for the PSP to grow their digital offering, to compete with the new players that are coming without credibility, but with expertise, and they can create their place. But after 7 years, when people would have completely left, let's say, the paper world, part of customer bases of banks and insurance will leave completely the paper, they wouldn't have any more advantages. So this window of opportunity is the time for new entrants to build their credibility. And they have to fight during this time. After this, it will be gone. Today, if we consider a paper-based value chain, the print service provider is most of the time adding value by composing a document, typically generating a PDF. Then, not always, sometimes they also receive a PDF already done, which is part of the value gone, by the way. With this PDF, print service providers are running factories with an optimized process, and they have a lean process, and they have a very stable process of putting this content onto a piece of paper, so generating the content, putting it in an envelope, and leaving, of course, the delivery to the postal office. So their part of the value chain is generation of the content, and the delivery is done by a third party, which is called post office, USPS.
Right.
When you're going digital, you still compose the document, you still add value in assemble a document from data with certain personalization rules, with some complexity, but also you get part of the value in delivering it as well.
Right.
So which is an
as
additional
opposed to the
value.
post office. Right. Right.
And
yep.
because the amounts are small, you're talking about cents. Many service providers think it's not a business, but what can be also understood is amounts could be cents, but you have to multiply it by millions of emails sent. And on this part, as well as on the composition part, the typical margins are more around 20-30% and not 5%. So what is very important to understand, the print service providers that have been successful to move part of their activities to digital, they are playing a game of margins instead of playing a game of top line revenues. In other words, it's a kind of Schumpeter destructive innovation. Moving digital, some revenues could go down, but the margins, the net margins could go up with less revenues. It's a kind of destructive innovation where you will reduce some of the industrial process and convert it to a fully digital process with higher margins. And one of the main barriers of some print service providers moving to digital are their ties with their investments, where they have long-term loans in terms of factories and machines, where they have to amortize their machine for several years. Still, this would be some considerations before moving part of their activities to fully digital, higher margins, but they still have machines to feed. So this transition period is very critical. And this is where DNOW could help. Understanding how to move progressively some part of your business to digital and maintaining enough industrial activities. And instead of renewing some of the loans, renewing some of the machines, progressively shift your business to digital and let your load die. So basically, this is a caricature, but this transition is tough.
Is there, correct me if I'm wrong, but is there a concept of a code base or code sharing where a particular application is developed, say for a mobile application, that can be contributed or shared among the members, where it's been built and validated and tested? Is that true, or did I misunderstand that?
So we have this community where a member could use or resell an application within his own market. And it's not only about reusing a code, but it's also reusing the go-to market, understanding where it has been sold, to which role or persona in the customer base it was sold to, what was the value proposition, how can you help me sell it, what were the different learnings you've got from selling it to, let's say, the claim departments of an insurance. And to have some vertical specific solutions is a great help for print service providers, because in that case, you have a ready-to-go solution that you sell to a department in your customer that is already up and running. So this is more on the application side, not only the code itself, but also all the learnings about where it fits and how to sell it. And
yeah,
then,
that's fair. Yeah, that's really important because most service providers, to your point, they specialize in a particular vertical. They might do insurance and banking, or insurance and healthcare, or utilities, or debt collection, or whatever that might look like.
and one point
And
there,
government entities too. There's a lot of interaction with government
yes,
entities around licensing and some other things too, right?
we see, at least in Europe and in Latin America, that some markets are quite attractive today for print service providers. And these markets or industries are the industries where digital experiences are a bit lagging or a bit late. And then there is an opportunity still, massive opportunity to digitize customer experiences because these industries are late. These industries are probably industries like water, utilities, local governments, all these
taxation authorities, etc.
all these industries that are not really on the limelight of all the digital ecosystems that are addressing insurances and banking and finance where there is a lot of money. So this has been addressed probably already in some cases, but industries like utilities, governments, local governments, tax, municipalities, social housing, they are still late and they are still using a lot of paper. This is a gold mine for print service providers. Giving you an example, when we share that some applications could be reused among different print service providers within the club, electricity is one example. So one member is proficient in digitizing customer experiences in utilities, and it has been quite easy to, let's say, transpose these applications in different countries. So moving from Italy to Germany, and then to Belgium, and then to France. So this is what could happen. And transposing it to US, we may have, for instance, a print service provider having a good idea or an opportunity to digitize a process within an energy company in several states, and working in collaboration with a different service provider, having a different contacts in different states, and reuse this application and share benefits or royalties. So this could be a way that could work as well. So this is why this cultural part is important. And I would like to add something on this. When we talk to service providers wanting to move digital, there is one fundamental philosophical question we ask to the CEO, or to the managing director. Would you define yourself as a printing company, or are you defining yourself as a company delivering a content on behalf of your enterprise customer to B2C customer? Are you in the business of delivering content, mass
Whatever
content,
that is, right?
or your business is about printing? And this is a fundamental question. If your business is about printing, because this is your DNA, because you have created it, because you like ink, well, maybe your future is more in packaging. Maybe your future is more in 3D printing. Maybe your future is an additional printing area, not only the document printing, which is going down. If you consider that your business is about delivering communication or customer engagement on behalf of an enterprise, then we can talk digital. If you still believe you're print, maybe digital is not for you. Sorry. Because this is your DNA, this is where you think you have your strategic resources, you know how to buy paper, to negotiate paper, you know all the logistics of feeding your machines and having procure, then maybe digital is too far. You have to find something else in printing. This is a fundamental question. And I'll repeat,
and it's a very important one, and it's one that I hope in the work that I'm doing here at Treeline, I'll help people sort of start to see through that and understand that there is a challenge ahead, right? But there is an opportunity to make your way through this challenge and prosper when you move to digital. And I often talk about digital first and getting people to see the market digitally first. It doesn't mean print goes away. It just means that when you step into the marketplace and you approach it from a digital first perspective, you are looking at all the opportunity that exists in the digital realm, which in my view is massive and expansive and growing, and it's where all the innovation is going. It's where all the budgets are going, right? It's where all the volume is going. So why would you continue to say the world is print first? And it's not to be disrespectful, and it's not to say that print is bad. It's just trying to sort of say this is the nature of customer communications and where we are headed. And it's sometimes drives me a little crazy when people want to bring the conversation back to print. And I suspect that in 5 years, the conversation that you and I are having now will be a very different. We will be talking about digital experience.